Hello, it's Joanna Torch. I'm CEO of Family Law Cafe. I'm going to start a live, and in this live I'm going to talk to Dr Isabelle Hung, and she's with her colleague has come up with the idea of Divorce Club, which she's going to tell us all about. It's a divorce club, I think. Clues in the name. As you know, I'm at Family Law Cafe, and what we do is we help people who are at any stage of their divorce or children matter, any family matter, and we strategise and mentor, provide them with the experts they need to sign up and use our online portal. And my idea is to help more people be able to access good quality legal advice, make sure they get the outcome they want. It's got an element of coaching, element of mentoring, getting your experts and everyone that you may need. So hopefully Isabel's going to join me. I spoke to her earlier today, and I hope she hasn't forgotten. If she has, then maybe we'll just have to have a chat amongst ourselves. So if anyone watching, if you can send a wave would be good. You can send a heart would be good. If you can say where you're watching from, that would be interesting. Just put a comment in the box below, because it's quite interesting to see who picks up on these things. Oh, thank you for the hearts, whoever's sending them. Terribly nice. Just don't know where Isabelle is. It's kind of gone beyond. Going to give her, I don't know, maybe I'll give her a text. Carol, I can see, is on the call. Perhaps Carol, you can give her a text, see if she's going to join us. And otherwise, I'm going to have to talk about something else in family law if she doesn't, if she forgets to join us. Ah, dear. Let's talk about the idea of using a divorce club. Now, divorce club is something that she thought of. Dr Isabelle Hung is a psychologist, and she is feel quite aligned with her. I met her at the divorce fair that we sponsored earlier in the year, and I think she's been through her own divorce, and she feels that it is a time of transformation, a time of change, a time when you can be make a positive change, because obviously no one would start a marriage thinking that you would end in separation. But if that does happen, of course, it can be for the better, certainly in the long run, although at the time it can be very tough. So her idea was to get an online group. And so that just gives all of the different aspects, so that you might want to know more about the legal side, and they have just people come on and give a chat. I'm going to give one in May. The other things they do, events you can go to as single parent, perils or otherwise of online dating, and also it's a hub, and they have meetups, and they have different things that they do. And so it's just a subscription fee that you pay. I think it's something like $7.99 a month, which is just peanuts, isn't it? Just to have that. So they pay for that. Oh, looks like Divorce Club has joined. Can you, she wants to request, so looking at the request, I'm going to put her on and she can talk herself. So we're going to go live. Here she comes. Should be coming on live.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I was on time, but obviously I thought we understood it today, and I understood it, so obviously I did something wrong again. Sorry about that, everyone.
Well, I've been talking about what I think the Divorce Club is about. So first of all, can I was saying you're a psychologist, is that correct?
That is right. I'm a clinical psychologist, lots of different types, and that's the one looking at the kind of mental health side of things. Yeah.
And am I right that you went through your own divorce, or what?
Exactly right. Just went through a divorce. I was, relatively youngish divorce, I guess, quite a quick marriage. But, I was surprised that there was nowhere to go. All my friends were still married or in seemingly happy relationships. And it just felt really, really, really lonely. It's lonely because you're divorcing, and lonely because there's so few other people, it felt like, doing the same thing as you. So, I kind of looked for other support groups and didn't really find anything. And yeah, then just kind of happened to have a friend divorcing and decided that we would start this together a little bit. And I've met some great people, including yourself, along the way. And it's been an adventure.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think there was I went into a deep, dark pit for about 4 or 5 years when I got divorced, and I'm an expert. I mean, it did carry on, but I think it would have been nice to have just a bit of friendship around.
Yeah. And just sometimes someone to just validate. Oh, is it normal that you're like crying all the time? Yeah, that's normal. Okay, and it gets easier, right? Yeah, don't worry, it gets easier.
Exactly.
And just
Yeah, no, I think it's massive. And so when did you start Divorce Club?
I think we started about 5-6 years ago now, for men and women going through a divorce. And originally it was meant to be just kind of advice, and we do some in-person events. We did try in London and around the country, but life's got in the way, and we currently only live in London. We are looking to try and have other people kind of to help us out around the country. But we do now. It's much more online. Well, since the pandemic, and now everyone's more comfortable with meeting online. We also do groups online, and the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Like now if you come every week to the events, and we get to know you, and you probably get more out of it. And it's really, really rewarding for those who have kind of stuck through us throughout the process, because you see the journey from sometimes people who've been out of their, just found out they're divorcing, and they're really in that kind of black hole that you've probably seen a lot and experienced yourself. And you see them get friends again, get hope again, find a whole new identity, and then maybe even one day have another relationship, even though everyone goes, oh, I never want to meet another man or woman again. But and then you see, met someone quite nice. And
I can't see any downsides. I mean, I can't see other than saying, I am getting divorced, which we all feel. I remember my horrible time was I went to midnight mass, which I always went to. I'm a Catholic, not the kind of most conscientious one, but a bit of midnight mass is quite good. And someone said, no, you can't go and take mass, you're a fool. Oh, okay. I felt a bit rotten with my kids, like a bit I'm a divorced woman, that's just, and that was a bit mean. And it was the worst thing, it was my friend who was saying it, sorry, you can't go up. So that was a bit of a downer. Things like that. So it's the sort of weird things that suddenly come at you. And I'm sure in your group, that sort of thing, things that people just don't think about, that might happen, that there's someone else there, isn't it, they could say that to, and people
exactly, someone who just knows what you're going through, and to reassure you that it's okay and they're not in the wrong is really
companionship.
Exactly. And I think the advantage of I guess maybe having a psychological background to help out is that you know that when you go through something traumatic, it's very much about how you approach things, and there are things that you should and shouldn't do, so and things that will be helpful. And if people can use something difficult like a divorce to take a step back, to think about what they've done right, what they've done wrong, what they'd like to do differently for the next chapter of their life. I've yet to meet someone who's really, if they've gone through it conscientiously, that hasn't sort of felt richer for having gone through it. Simply knowing that you can be on your own, be happy on your own, is one of the most empowering things that you can.
I like moving furniture in the middle of the night. I did a bit of that early days.
Yeah.
Is that just me? I just fancy moving the furniture around. I can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not completely mad. I'm just trying to think that are coming back.
No, but it's things like there's some real treats, like your home can now be your space. There are things that you don't have to negotiate. I mean, there's a certain kind of freedom that you can find that can be really enjoyable as well. And I
Sorry,
just want to say as well, we don't just deal with the emotional side as well. We do think we want to provide like access to services we trust, like Divorce Law Cafe. We want to put them in touch with some of the technology that we know is really great. We also do Q&A with lawyers. So rather than go to a lawyer and have a really expensive letter written or a really expensive piece of advice, you know, can you change the locks on your door? Well, come to one of our talks with our lawyers and they'll tell you, oh, yeah, not a good idea. Or
I watched
and
that one day, weirdly, and I don't think that's a coincidence. And I thought, well, that's ingenious. She said, you can't change the locks, because it's true. As a lawyer, everyone always says to you, can I change the locks? And you're like, you actually can't, or maybe don't ask me, because it's difficult then to explain, I'm sorry, but the other side does have a legal and then you shoot off a letter to say the other side, look, you did leave 3 months ago, so no, it's not sensible, please just agree when you're going to come back or whatever. But your lawyer had a really smart idea. She said, could put an extra lock on. I thought that's really quite clever. So I learned something today. Because
we have great people, like Divorce Law Cafe. We try and find the best people and people we trust to give good service and good advice, because you can get bad advice out there, as you know, from being a lawyer mediator yourself. Not everyone's as good as.
Well, I guess what it is, that the thing that really made me want to set this up was, as a barrister, people would come along and they'd spent, I don't know, it was someone, 135,000 had been spent just in a few weeks, and I could understand why. Because it was very difficult, and that was just at the beginning. And she would always be told by judges when, oh, you spent all this money, that's so terrible. And I could completely understand why she'd spent it. So not only had she spent a lot of money very fast with lawyers that she would never get back, but she was actually being told off by the court about that. And I'm like, you just can't win here. So here's someone who's trying to get advice, very good magic circle firm, and I'm sure they, if the case had, it just wasn't the right kind of thing to do in that particular situation, and the case went on, and it just really upsets me, the way that people don't realise there's lots of choices they can make, and you don't have to burn up. That might have been the right choice for somebody else, just wasn't the right choice for her. So it's all about choices, isn't it?
Yeah, and then just having someone sit down as well at the beginning to understand the choices and understand maybe things like some basic psychology, like the traps that you can fall into. For example, we know there's something called loss aversion, and the more you invest into your battle, the harder it will ever be for you to walk away. It's a bit like, your gamblers, they kind of want their money back, so they kind of keep betting because they don't want to kind of crystallize their loss or share, people who have invested in shares or things like that. And you kind of need to be sometimes aware of these pitfalls. Like, it's going to be hard for you to walk away with that loss now, but this is going to go on.
Makes sense, doesn't it? You think that you have invested all of that time and money. I don't know. How would you stop? How can it end? That's something I think I see, where something I sometimes mention, know when to stop, but it is so hard for people, isn't it?
It's literally a physical thing that will stop you. It's really difficult, and just to be able to empathize people that it's really difficult to do that. And and I think that our kind of space where we can discuss that, and draw attention to that, can be really helpful. And that, maybe some lawyers are not going to say that to people as well.
No. I mean, and they're not doing anything wrong, they're just being lawyers, whereas you're seeing it as a psychologist. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I feel 32 or how many years dealing with this, there's sort of, I kind of see patterns of different things that will happen. I'm like, it's going to be one of those cases. So I feel like, as I say, I'm not a psychologist, but there's so much psychology in family law, isn't there?
Yeah, because it's a raw time. There's lots of emotions. So, don't give the lawyer your emotions. Come to Divorce Club and give us your emotions.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Another reason that I try to split that up. because I know that when I worked in a solicitor's firm, there was a time when I did 4 days a week, and between 4 and 6, I'd have all my calls and I'd have 2 hours just speaking with people, and they wanted to speak to me. And I'd say, this is costing you, at that time it was £250 an hour. And that's what they were paying. And I would say, I'm a lawyer. I don't have that psychological knowledge. I can help you with the legal side, but people invest in their lawyer and they want to speak to their lawyer about things that are not law related or they're psychological. That's why I split it up and have people can talk to at Family Law Cafe who are not lawyers, so they're not paying those legal fees. And as we just have that flat fee, get as much chat as you want, and they're better at doing it. And obviously you're doing it in a different way, aren't you? You're saying, just come, just have a subscription, do your chat, don't spend that money with your lawyer. Go to your lawyer when you want your lawyer to do some law, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I really do. And I'm going to enjoy coming to talk to you. Any last comments for people that are watching this on, any thoughts that you can give as to how what you do works for them, how it's useful?
I would say you don't have to do it alone. And this is a horrible experience, but you can grow out of it. All trauma can have some kind of growth out of it. It's hard work, but so empowering. And that is what we are here for. We want your next chapter to be better.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So nice to see you. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Weekend, what there's left for it. And anyone that's watching this will be back on Wednesday. Try and drag someone else in the network and have a chat. Really nice to see you, and see you again soon, Isabelle. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.